Good evening. My name is Tremaine Jones, and I am in the Organizational Leadership Program. And this is Capstone II, the exit video. Uh, when I started this program, I would say that I was a charismatic leader. I was an empathetic leader. I was that kind of person that was willing to get my hands dirty with the team or with the group. Um, Work was my thing. If I could get in there and grind with you, I could encourage you along the way to keep going. And then I kind of kind of hung my hat on the fact that I have this ability to make people think outside the box, whether that was a good situation or a bad situation. So that's the kind of leader I was when I started this program. But as I learned quickly in the issues of leadership, I learned that there are some things about myself that are good, and there are some things that are about myself that are not good. A couple of things that I learned that were good is that the issues in organizational leadership courses helped me drill down and identify what kind of leader I really was. And I am a servant leader. I'm a transformational leader. I really like being transparent and being there for people to empathize. So it did come back kind of the same, but the, the issues with organizational leadership classes helped me identify weaknesses that I didn't know I had. So in identifying the weaknesses that I didn't know I had, it gave me an opportunity to surround myself with leaders who were particularly strong in those areas so that I could then watch and learn and adapt to the habits that they use as a part of tools in my toolbox so I could become a better leader. The issues in leadership also helped me identify a lot of problems that are wrong in management and leadership at my current job. I quickly identified what kind of leader my immediate supervisor was. So it really started to make the whole idea of leadership unfold for me. When I think of everything that's going on at work in the leadership, from a leadership standpoint, it really makes me understand more how information gets confused as it's passed down. I work for a Fortune 500 company, so the people at the top have no clue of what's happening for real on the ground level. So, which brings me to my next point with the data driven decision making courses. Those courses in themselves really help me hone in on the problems that I have at the job, but it also helped me see what the higher ups are thinking so that I could better perform my job according to what they are thinking and what they desire as an outcome. Didn't really realize how much data went into making decisions. For instance, with the current pandemic going on, I was baffled at the person that has to make a decision of the extra pay that we received when it first started, how to address people that were directly affected with the schools closing and daycares closing. Um, at one point, the job gave every worker 160 free hours, basically, of paid time off. Like, who makes that decision? And where did you get that data from to make that decision? And I understand that it was a pandemic, but at the end of the day, it still costs money. It's still affecting the revenue of the company. So it was really fascinating to see the leaders of the company act in such a way and act quickly to try and protect everybody, to keep everybody safe, and then address some common issues amongst the whole work team, whether you are an outside worker and you are going from house to house, or you were in a call center answering the phone, or you were driving back and forth downtown to the main office. So it was really fascinating to see them walk through and manipulate schedules and timing and all that kind of stuff, and then giving us access to things that we didn't have when we started, such as the free testing and open insurance for a moment there. It was phenomenal, to say the least. And I really wish that I could have, just been like a fly on the wall to listen as they were in the boardrooms making these decisions, because it was like an overnight thing. During that time when they were making decisions, I will admit that I've seen some things that I would have done differently. I did a little bit more Q&A as far as who could take the time off and who did need it, who didn't need it, because they were literally just giving it away. So, but overall, when it comes to data-driven decision, I'm just glad I didn't have to make that decision, because I'm not so sure and confident in the fact that I could have made decisions for 80,000 people, because that's how many people work there. So, which leads me to my next point in being a people watcher and a person of that has a lot of morals and values, because of the way I was raised, behavior and ethics, that those two courses really pointed out a lot as far as characteristics and traits that you want to look for in a person, characteristics and traits you want to look for to build a team, um, things that you want to watch for as stress levels rise and fall. How well does that person communicate in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the battle? So, like I said, being a people watcher, it gave me the opportunity to classify some of the behaviors that I seen, while I'm looking at people, and then I myself, you know, getting to do things and judge my own ethics and make certain that I'm still just as dialed in as I was when I was younger, as my mom raised me. One cool thing that I learned was, my mom always taught me integrity, 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 doing the right thing when no one's looking. It's like a steeple for ethics and behavior status, maybe behavioral status. And there's a piece in the behavior class that I've learned that sometimes doing the right thing isn't right, because it's not right for everybody. And it's a part of that. It's kind of like a combination of the data driven decisions and the behavior and ethics, because when you're dealing with a lot of people, the right thing to do is be like, hey, let's just all go home. It's a pandemic. Let's just go home and stay safe. But business must go on, so you can't say that, even though it's the right thing to do to keep everybody, healthy and not at risk. I believe it was Hertzberg motivational hygiene factors that really blew my mind. The statement about, satisfaction and dissatisfaction and things of that nature, how the opposite of satisfaction is not dissatisfaction. The opposite of satisfaction is non-satisfaction, which completely blew my mind. And now that I understand that, it makes it more relevant, because when it comes to people, just because they aren't satisfied, you can't take out the necessary pieces that you need in order to make them satisfied, because it could change the trajectory of your entire culture, your entire plan, and the face of the company, for that matter. Which takes me right into the next point on the leadership theories and the styles in leadership. And those classes were very helpful, simply because it helped me it helped me identify, and look at things from a wider angle, from a wider lens, so to speak. I like to think of it as my grandmother used to say, it's like having not just having sight, but having vision. And to further explain that, having sight is I have two eyes and I can see. you know, but having vision is being able to see what's around the corner because, you have a wider view. You have an eagle's eye from up here to down at, the perspective of what you're looking at. Say that it gave me opportunities to build solutions way ahead of time, even in my daily life. Now that I've, studied the leadership theories as I lead in my home, being 2 or 3 steps ahead helps me not be so stressed out, at work, you know, knowing, thinking about how I'm going to influence people to do the right thing or to take a different approach to how they're gonna tackle a big job. And it makes me go, okay, well, you know what? If you may see this issue and this issue. If you do, let me know. And they know that I've already thought about it and that they're they're confident in my ability to help them walk through that issue. Leading change course was a gem in itself. It really poured gas on my already burning fire to be the difference. Part of me going back to school at the age of 38 was I was tired of just working a job where the mundane is go do this, go do that. I want to make a difference. So I'll do is I'll continue to, school on my alternative certification so I can go back to school and be a teacher and teach people um, how to be a difference maker, not just stand by the wayside, but how to really get in the game and fight. But the leading change factor is giving, for me personally, it's a dream. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to use what God has given me to be able to pour into others so that they can still see and so that they can go forward and push to another level. The capstone classes are when the whole program became real. Having to put everything together like a puzzle and understanding, making it work, having to remember and go back, you know, to the different types of leaders and leadership styles, you know, really helps it ingrain it into your system so that you can matriculate through whatever it is you're doing. I tend to speak a lot about work because that's what I do every day. That's where I get my leadership practice. So the capstones was a moment of relief, because now I get to use my education on a daily basis. And like I said, it was the final piece of the puzzle. It's challenging, multiple forms of leadership and dealing with people. It's like the old cliche, you're not going to please everybody, but you have to throw in the behavior and the ethics when you feel like, you know what, somebody's not going to be happy with this. But given the data that I have, this is the proper decision to make. And as a leader and wanting to lead for change, I have to be able to stand up, even when it's not cool or doesn't feel cool, should I say, to be able to make people understand and buy into, hey, this is why we made this decision as a group. This is why we're going to go forward with this decision. And here's how it's going to help in the long run, even though it doesn't look like it and or feel like it at this time. I can definitely say the leader I am today is way more methodical. My wife has already felt the effects of what this program has done for me. There was a few things that we dealt with that she would come check on every now and then just to see if I was handling it well and things of that nature. And now it's just, oh baby, you got that? It's done already, And so I'm very methodical. I take a step back, I don't just rush in like I used to. I evaluate all possible outcomes before I just make a decision, and I respond instead of reacting so that I myself can get the desired outcomes that I want, not from a selfish standpoint, but from a point of I've already thought about it and I've already made a pretty decent decision. Now, not to say that it's all set in stone, but when you start at that level and you have to dissect it and dial it back to include everybody, now everybody feels better about the decision because we started at a high level and then we made it fit the different personalities. So I can say that this collection of courses has prepared me for a different level of leadership and situations where I can actually use what what I've learned through walking through this, and then at the same time, the stuff that's uniquely gifted to me to be a much better leader than I was before I started. This has been a great course. I cannot wait until I get to just lead people on a day to day basis. Thank you to everybody involved, teachers and staff. God bless y'all. Thank you.